What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the DC Comics Multiverse Suicide Squad Deadshot. Now here we do have Deadshot in the packaging. He does come with a collect and connect piece for Killer Croc. He does come with a right arm, it looks like. We do have Deadshot here in the packaging, and surprisingly we got the warnings up here. Normally that's on the back of the packaging, but anyway, we do have a nice image of Will Smith as Deadshot. On that side, we have that same image of Will Smith as Floyd Lawton. Surprisingly, no read-up. There's no read-up on Suicide Squad, so that's actually surprising. And interesting thing to note, this is actually in a different language. Yeah, I can't really read that. But anyway, we do have Croc here as the Build-A-Figure. Other figures in this line include the Joker, Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, Katana, and another Batman figure, and he does have a scuba mask right there. And then here's Croc when he's all said and done. Really looking forward to that. But anyway, what I'm going to do now is take a little break, get him open up, and then we'll go on to the rest of the review, so sit tight, everyone. And here we have Deadshot posing out of the packaging. Now before we get on to the figure, let's actually show off his collect and connect piece of Killer Croc. Really interesting that on the packaging he didn't have the taped up hand. He had the clean hand, which is a little odd to me. But if you're thinking if we can connect it into anything, we can't. We need Batman to actually plug it in. And because we get options, it's really hard to tell if we're going to be able to swap these out and like mix and match for Killer Croc, or if it's like we need to buy two. I don't know, it's confusing right now. But here we have Deadshot posing out of the packaging. He does come with two accessories, the first being this little pistol. Let's actually zoom in on this. It does have some details, but it's lost in the sculpt because there's not enough paint to, really bring out the details of the gun, so that's a little unfortunate. And another complaint I have is that it is really rubbery. Like, it is beyond warped out of packaging. Like, this is me working on it. When it got out of the package, it looked something like this. So it's like really soft, and I don't like that. Thankfully, we do get a holster for it to go in, although that seems to only make the warping worse. So that's unfortunate. And we also do get an alternate head for Deadshot. This is, of course, Deadshot wearing his mask. And switching heads is really easy. The heads do come off fairly well. We do get the unmasked head as well as the masked head, which honestly I think I like the masked head a little more. I'm not saying that this isn't a bad head sculpt. It does look like Will Smith. But I think I prefer Deadshot wearing a mask, so we're actually going to put that on him right now. Yeah, just so you can see what that looks like. And so here we do have Deadshot wearing his mask. Now, I think out of the Suicide Squad figures that I have, Deadshot is the weakest. Like, I know Joker had, like, reused parts, but I don't know, there's just something about this figure that screams half-ass, if you were to put it lightly. And most of it is in his articulation, which we'll go on to his articulation first, and then we'll move on to his detail. He does have a ball-jointed head, although you really can't do much with it, because the way it's sculpted, his head is sitting so far in that joint, you're not going to get much up or down movement. He does look left and right okay. Arms on a ball joint go out to about that far. And they do butt up against a plastic piece inside his armor. He does a full 360. Swivels at the bicep. Single jointed at the elbow. Mine's a little stiff, or really stiff right there. He does swivel at the gauntlet, which is pretty cool because you can get him to pose with his wrist blaster. And then he does swivel at the wrist. Although no hinge, and the hinge would have been nice just so that we can have his hand down while we have him pose like that. And it's the same for both arms. Swiveling the wrist like that does inhibit some of the articulation, so you go from that, moving the wrist like this, to 90 degrees, so be aware of that when you're posing him. And then he does have an ab crunch, which goes back about that much, but is virtually useless going forward because it butts up against itself. This could have been alleviated if they had sculpted this piece as part of his upper torso and had it go in, but no, they just butt up against each other and get no movement there. He does swivel at the waist. Let's go forward to about that far, and it's the same on both legs, doesn't go much further than that. Goes back more than it goes forward. He swivels at the thigh, single jointed at the knee, and then his knee pads are a free floating piece, so they do move depending on how you have his legs posed, as you can see. And he has an ankle hinge, which is all the articulation we get with him. And like I said, the articulation kind of kills it for me because you really can't get him posed in dynamic poses. And add to it, mine has like really loose hip joint right here. Legs are really loose, so just like with my Armor Batman, quality control like ruined this figure. Might have to go get another one. But overall, he looks nice, so I will say that. Does suffer from the plastic molded guns that don't do anybody any favors. They're just there. He also does have a knife right here, which again is just sculpted. It's not removable. He could have had a lot more accessories, but Mattel just opted out for this one gun and called it a day. Like I said, there could have been so much more with this figure, but Mattel really dropped the ball on it. Moving on to his detail, we do have, it is fairly done fairly nicely. You can see all the details in his mask. The eye is nicely painted. You can see it does say, "I am the light, the way" on his collar. He is missing the Deadshot emblem right here on his chest. Kind of wish they had included that. His armor does look pretty nice. I will give it that. It's a little off-centered, but I'm willing to let it slide right now. Paint could have been better, but at least his wrist gauntlets have that same glossy, like, metallic maroon paint, which is pretty cool. Like I said, he has a lot of detail, but it's lost because there's no other paint on him other than right here on his torso, so that's unacceptable in my book. But anyway, that's Deadshot for you. So what I'm going to do now is take a little break, get him posed for my final thoughts, then we'll wrap up this review. So sit tight, everyone. So here we have Deadshot posed for my final thoughts. Overall, really decent figure. Nothing too spectacular about him in my opinion, but still a really nice figure. And just in case anybody's wondering what he looks like next to the Dark Knight, I don't know, I do think that having Batman next to him, it kind of makes the figure look more like a supervillain or a rogue than, you know, just some guy in tactical armor. So at least having Batman makes it almost, actually, it makes it look much better in my opinion. But moving Batman off to the side, I actually think Deadshot, like I said, is one of the weaker figures. That might change as I get the other figures slowly but surely. But as it stands, I think there's so much that this figure missed out on. Like, there's just so much that could have been done with a lot of the details and accessories, and they just kind of dropped the ball on this one. I do like the fact that we get an alternate head, but would have been nice if these guns were also removable, like giving him the option of having one gun, two guns, you know, better articulation for his wrist. That would have really made this figure pop. But I'm not saying I'm disappointed with the purchase, I'm just saying that he could have been better. I really do like the figure aesthetically. If you're looking for Deadshot, I've only seen Suicide Squad figures at Toys R Us right now, so at the time I'm making this video, they're still pretty hard to come by. Like I said, I haven't seen Batman or Harley Quinn, and that's essentially wave one. If you can find Deadshot, I really recommend you pick him up, especially if you're trying to complete Killer Croc or you're looking forward to the movie like I am. Really nice figure. Has his problems, but still, you know, I can let it pass and say he's a good figure. But I'm going to wrap up the review here. I'm King of Dragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, tell me what you think of Deadshot. Do you think he's worth it? Do you think he's not? Do you think he's a pass? Because I know there's some people that say go ahead and pass on him. I think he's pretty cool looking. But anyway, don't forget to check out all my other videos, all my other action figure reviews. And always subscribe to my channels. Keep supporting me and I'll be able to do this more frequently for you guys. And without much more to say, I'm King of Dragons 5000, and I'll see you guys later. Take care, everyone. My dream